Hey, how's it going, everyone? My name is Troy Hackett. I'm currently a head TA at Cornell University for Managerial Accounting, and today we'll be going over Professor Paz's prelim, more specifically the first and second question. Now, I'll be going over the entire prelim, but we'll be splitting it into chunks. So for video 1, we'll go over questions 1 and 2. Video 2, we'll go over question 3, and so on. So if there's gonna be a whole playlist. Just go to the playlist. You want to see, how to do every question in the practice prelim. And yeah, let's just get right into it. First question is more of a qualitative question, talking about changes in costs as you increase and decrease production. And question 2 goes over or is about the high-low method. So we will be doing both of these questions in this video. Anyway, for question 1, it says, explain the effect that an increase in production volume will have on each of the following. And we have fixed cost per unit and variable cost per unit, right? So fixed cost per unit, what's generally going to happen is that as you increase your production, your fixed cost per unit are going to decrease. And let me give you an example to help you visualize how that would work, right? So for example, let's say we open up a Starbucks, right? We open up a Starbucks and we're incurring $3,000 of rent per month. That's our fixed cost. And let's say we had a really bad month. COVID just set in and we only made, we only sold 10 cups of coffee. There's a bit of a exaggeration, but I like to exaggerate it when I'm trying to, qualitatively understand these types of concepts. So if we're spending $3,000, right, on fixed costs, and we only sell 10 cups of coffee, if we do 3,000 divided by 10, we get 300. This means for every cup of coffee, we have to allocate $300 worth of fixed costs per cup of coffee. Now, this isn't very profitable. But let's say, for example, a couple years from that, from that month, COVID just ended, we're doing a lot better, and we sold 10,000 cups of coffee, right? 10,000 cups of coffee. Now we can spread those fixed costs over those 10,000 cups of coffee much easier, right? Because we have so many more cups of coffee. So if you do 3,000 divided by 10,000, we would get 30 cents. So for every cup of coffee, we're only incurring 30 cents of fixed cost per unit, which is much more profitable. So as you increase that production, your fixed cost per unit is going to decrease. Now for variable cost per unit, that doesn't really change, right? So for example, if we make a cup of coffee, let's say the grounds to make that cup of coffee is 20 cents, right? It doesn't matter if you make 1 unit or a billion units, that 20 cents is not going to change. So it's just going to stay constant. So variable costs stay constant, okay? And I think that's, relatively easy to understand. So if you got any questions about that, just leave it down in the comments and I'll try to reply to it at some point. Additionally, if I ever make a mistake in one of these videos, I'll just put it down in the description or in a pinned comment down below because, I'm not a PhD at managerial accounting. I have been teaching this for 2 years, so, I have a good amount of experience, but, I can still make mistakes. So if I do, I'm just going to drop it down in the comments. Professor Paz will probably be looking through these videos afterwards, making sure they're all clean of errors. And if there are some errors, I'm going to make the correction and put it down in the description. So just check the comments or the description before you're watching these videos to make sure I didn't make any mistakes. But hopefully that's not going to happen too often. So now let's go over question number 2. The Weinbach reports the following year's worth of labor statistics. And they gave us a bunch of, labor costs and labor hours. And they ask us, assuming that LA believes labor costs are a mixed cost and that they vary with labor hours, using the high-low method, provide the mixed cost function. So what they're asking for when they say equation is they're talking about y equals mx plus b, right? B is our y-intercept. M is our coefficient, and X is going to be a number of whatever we're trying to calculate. In this case, it's going to be labor hours. So using the high-low method, what we're going to do is take our highest amount of hours and our lowest amount of hours. So our highest amount of hours is this right here, 2,720. And our lowest amount of hours is going to be 1,470. Okay? So now what we're going to do is take the cost here, 72,589, minus the lowest cost, 43,077. And then we're going to put it with their respective hours. So 2720 minus, we don't need a dollar sign there, but 1470, right? So what we're trying to really do here is we're going to try and figure out how much it costs per hour for labor, right? Because right now we have like the cumulative amount of labor costs, but we don't know how much it costs per hour. And by doing that high-low method, we are figuring that out. So we're going to do that, and I need a calculator, so I'm going to take my calculator out here, right? I'm just going to plug in my calculator real quick, and we're going to get $23.61. So that number is how much we're paying per labor hour, right? So for example, in the factory, we're paying these guys $23.61 per hour, which is, not a bad gig. So that's going to be our M right here. That's our M, right? But we still need to find B, the y-intercept. And the y-intercept is the cost of labor, or the cost of running this company when there are 0 labor hours. So that's basically before we incur any labor costs. This is like how much it costs, to rent the building and, get all the equipment for the company. So in order to solve that, right, we're going to go over here. I'm going to write in white now because we're going to go into black background. But in order to solve that, we're going to take that 43,000, the lowest number, minus 1470 times 23.61. So what we're doing here is we're basically minusing all of those, variable labor costs to get down to what the fixed costs are, right? So we do that, and we're going to get 8370.3, right? So this is the fixed cost. Before we incur any labor hours, this is how much it costs, buy the materials, buy, rent the factory, etc. Right? So if we write out our entire equation now, we're going to get y equals 23, oh, I messed up there, 23.61x plus 8370.3, right? So now, for example, let's say we're trying to figure out how much it costs to, let's say we want to incur 1,500 hours of labor hours, right? Now we can use this equation here, just plug in 1,500 here, and we're going to be able to find that cost, right? So, end of story, this is our answer, and that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed.